quick video. Women and political agendas. As I've explained before, and by the way, I'm talking as an anthropologist and a sociologist, not as someone working at the tax and customs department. Alright? Just because I got that job over there for now does not mean that I become a mouthpiece to all that the Dutch government is saying. Absolutely not. I still have my own views as a human being. So, just to make that clear, this is me speaking as an anthropologist. Now look, this thing about women and political agendas, I've made a few live streams about it. I made videos about it before. But I've noticed that a lot of people simply don't get it. It comes down to this. When you have conflict in the community, and the conflicts, because a conflict tends to become like a cancer into multiple conflicts. When the conflicts become so heavy in the community, and you want to come with some type of diversion of the negative focus, you need to have a convincing message to divert people away from the negative tension. And the best way to do that is by using emotional force. Let me give you a fictional example. Let's say you have the Philippines. And in the Philippines, since the colonial era, you had the Chinese minority that actually ran the economy on behalf of the Spanish Empire. Now, eventually the Philippines separated from Spain. They were managed by the United States for a while, and they became an independent republic. But you still have this post-colonial structure. But here's the thing, the rest of Filipino society doesn't get along. So there's always continuous fighting amongst the groups. So because of that, that Chinese minority retains their financial economic leverage. Now, the other parts of Filipino society are kind of okay with it, but it's an embarrassing thing that if a Chinese minority in Filipino society that has a financial leverage. So how do you reconcile this? Well, there is no way to actually reconcile this. So what they do is that now media outlets promote this pro-Chinese imagery in Filipino society. So many of the native Filipino women, they either bleach their skin or they put makeup on to look like pale Chinese women. Or you may even see a Filipino lady who's tanned, but she has a Chinese husband or a Chinese boyfriend. Why is this? Because by doing this, they are suggesting to the masses that if you want to be successful in life in the Philippines, you must be associated with the Chinese. And by doing that, they are keeping the blueprint that's been there for centuries since the colonial era. Because change is painful, but it wants to go through that because if the Chinese minority doesn't have the leverage anymore financially, economically, who will? Then you have fights all over the Philippines. So the public agenda is people want to be left alone. People just don't want to deal with all the conflicts. But, well, the colonial past left this blueprint that's controversial. So now the political agenda becomes, we want to divert away from this. So we promote this pro-Chinese agenda just to keep everything at ease. But we won't put only Chinese people out there because that would be too obvious. But we will suggest that if you want to be successful in life, you want to be secure, be associated with the Chinese. Now, that's just a fictional example. Based on part history, because the Philippines was a Spanish creation and Chinese migrants became quite important for the Spanish economy and remained in Filipino society dominant in finance afterwards also. But I'm just using that example just to explain the following to you. Women tend to be used by political groups just to push through their agenda. For example, have you noticed lately that You have a lot of models, or you become influencers on social media, or either vegan or vegetarian, or you have something against eating meat, and at the same time, you have a lot of corporations pushing this green thing, less meat or meat replacement. And a lot of people don't see the connection. What's really going on here? Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, I'm just noticing a few things here. Look, the moment you see a lot of women being promoted, being paid, and being praised and exalted, ask yourself why. And if you see there's something they have in common, they all dress a certain way, or they all have similar beliefs, now you know there's an agenda. And the agenda is always hide away from another conflict. Now, I'm not here to tell you what the conflict is, but I will point out to you that this anti-meat agenda has nothing to do with meat, has nothing to do with animal cruelty. Because without animal protein, you will lack vitamins in your body. That's why people that follow such diets, they need to have all kinds of supplements. Am I promoting animal cruelty? No. But, hey, human beings, we tend to feed off animal protein, so that's just it. And the Heavenly Father allowed us to eat meat and fish anyway. Christ himself, bacon, ate fish. So are those people who are so green, more holy and more loving and more kind than Christ himself? Listen, women tend to be used by political groups. By the way, politics and government are two separate things. I already explained it before. Politics relates to conflicts in a community that are now acted out by actors or factors that are not directly involved in the conflict. Sometimes these conflicts are taken over by government, sometimes they're not. Just beware. Using emotional force is a common and effective tactic to push through a political agenda. And a political agenda is always designed to diverge from something else that's going on. They don't want you to notice. What if some people with malevolent intent realize that, you know what, if we weaken the health of the public through a diet that's not that beneficial, we can have a better grip on them. So let's use these women to push this agenda. And the women are not aware of it. Women think, hey, if I want attention, if I want to be praised, if I want to get along, hey, be like those other women who were promoted. It's a common fact. Cults often recruit women and use women to maintain a good reputation for the cult, as well as to recruit new members, because it works. When a man appears and begins to push something, it tends to trigger resistance. When it's a woman, people don't notice that they're being pushed. It's just psychology. So ladies, beware that you're not being used for some political agenda. Because I know a lot of times women aren't even aware they're being sucked into an agenda until it's way too late. Do not become a tool for people who just want to use you and toss you away like you never existed. Alright? Well, that's it for now. Keep it on good in Christ and be at peace.